So, the last thing we need to discuss for this section is domain. And we're in 2.1. We've already discussed domain, so this should just be a review, and I gave you guys all a handout on it. So when you talk about domain, there's two different things you need to look for. The first thing is if there's a fraction. The second thing is if there's an even root. It doesn't matter if there's an odd root, but it matters if there's an even root. So if there's a fraction, let me back up for a second. Sometimes people don't know what domain is. Domain is what x's will work in the equation. In these two special cases, you will get x's that won't work. In a fraction, you don't want the bottom to be 0. So the bottom cannot equal 0 because you will get an undefined answer. So a domain is usually an interval that works. So what do? We find out, okay, you set the bottom not equal to 0 and solve for x. And that will tell you your domain for a fraction. For an even root, you cannot get a negative underneath the root because it doesn't work. But only if it's even. If it's odd, it doesn't matter. So what do? You take what's underneath the root, make it greater than or equal to 0 because it's allowed to be greater than or equal to 0, and then solve.